Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is TimBatSea. In this video here we've just picked up this barge. This is a bunker barge. It's a very big one. It's a 50,000 barrel barge. It's over 2 million gallons of product and separated into about 10 different tanks. You can see the big chimney on the right hand side of the house here on the right hand side of the screen there. Stainless steel, but it looks like it's got some crystallized salt on it there. Anyway, that right there is not for a generator or anything. That's for a huge boiler. This is for heating product. There's all these barges are double skin barges. So in other words, there's 10 tanks, but they're all within a great big tank. So in the unfortunate event that there was ever a grounding, it wouldn't open up a seam and have oil go into the environment. It might open up the first set of tanks and let water into the void in between the outside of the hull and the outside of the inner fuel cargo tanks. So that's how that works. So anyway, that void is 3 to 5 feet, sometimes even bigger than that, all the way around, and it's filled with air. And air is a very, very good insulator. So a lot of people ask, how do you keep the bunker, which is like 6 oil? It's very heavy. In fact, it usually has to be heated to like 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Just move it to pump it. And the short answer is that we receive it from the terminal at temperature, and they'll take a temperature when they pump it on, and then once the whole barge is loaded, they take temp samples again, and they figure all that stuff out. But if it falls below the spec, oh, and by the way, usually, most of the time, you can move it from the terminal, even go and wait for a ship to come in, go to anchor for a day or whatever, and usually because there's so much thermal mass in those 2 million gallons of product, and because there's so much insulation around them, it doesn't lose that much heat. Now, it does. There are times that it's either too long a period or it's too cold, and either one of those, when we go to pump off the product, if it's too cold, we can't move it, or it falls below spec, then the customer will ask us to heat the product, and they do that with this huge boiler that heats up a heating oil. It's a fluid, kind of like if you live in the Northeast, a lot of people have like radiant floor heating. It's very similar to that, where they would have pipes that run through the different product tanks, but instead of having heated water that goes through there, they have this heating fluid, heat transfer fluid, which is a type of oil that can be heated very hot, and it's obviously separated in there. But anyway, so that's that. So we have gone from one ship, and I don't know if they were using black oil or what they were doing, but I would assume this is probably a black oil barge, so there's probably bunkers in this. But most of these big barges can be multi-product, so out of the 10 tanks, they can put some product with some heavier oils, or what we call black oil, which would be like the bunkers. Or they can have what we call maneuvering fuel, which might be something like closer to diesel. And so they can put those in different tanks. So when a customer, when a ship comes in, it might need some of this product and some of that product. And it's not uncommon for one barge to have everything the ship needs. And it's not like they just load the barge up and then they go to the grocery store and pull it off the shelf. This stuff is ordered long in advance. So in other words, the ship's engineer will consult with the captain, and they'll make a requisition to their company, and their company will probably, I don't know, this is just what I suspect, but their company will probably contact their agent, and their agent will say, well, we work with this oil company, and then they contact that oil company, and that oil company says, well, we work with this company to move it, and that would be us. and we'll have this much product for this price, and it will be picked up at this time, thinking that you'll be here on or about this certain date. And all of that gets taken care of. I was just a wonder, and I still wonder, but I think the short answer is, well, I think I've learned the short answer, but I don't know exactly how it works. But you wonder how these things get paid for, meaning it's not like you just go throw them a credit card. I mean, if you're buying $2 million worth of product that might cost $4 or $6 a gallon, yeah, that's a lot of money. So how does that happen? And I've been told, obviously, if I knew these things, I probably wouldn't be driving a tugboat, that I'd probably be a big oil executive. But I've been told that it's all done with letters of credit, that this stuff, by the time we get the oil, by the time we get the product on our barge, it's already bought and paid for. The bills are already done. So it comes onto our thing, we get it onto them, and it's all taken care of. It's already done. So that's usually how that works. All right, so those that have watched for a long time might realize that when we started the video here, we were coming down Newark Bay. We picked this video up by a place we call the Old Bay Draw, where there used to be a drawbridge, but there was no drawbridge there, and it hasn't been for my entire career. Anyway, it hasn't been there, but we still call it the Old Bay Draw. Anyway, we came to the left, or the port side. We're heading east now through the Kilvan Cull. When you hear us say that we have a job in the Kills, this is where it's at. So we're coming by, we're coming up to Bayonne City Docks on the left-hand side. Staten Island's on the right-hand side. And for anybody that might be new to the channel, they say, what is this? What are we doing? We are a tugboat, and we move barges full of petroleum. Sometimes we move it between different terminals, and sometimes we move it between from the terminal to a ship. And many ships from around the world get their fuel at the U.S. As bad as you think that the fuel prices are, they're better here than they are in most places around the world. And so I think it has a lot to do with shipping companies taking advantage of the kindness of the U.S. taxpayer, where we are actually subsidizing a lot of their oil, whether you like it or not through direct payment, but through tax breaks and leasing rates and stuff like that to oil companies. So we have very inexpensive fuel. As much as it hurts to go to the gas pump and pay, just talk to any of the people on the channel that live over in Europe or anywhere else in the world, and they'll tell you that our fuel is very cheap over here. Anyway, yeah, so we move this stuff. We are a tugboat, and that means that we are pushing. If you look down, it looks like there's the bow of the tug up there. That's actually not the tug at all. That's what we call the notch of the barge. And the tug is actually sitting below in that U. You can see there's what we call a crucifix bit. The thing with there's just the light on it there, right about the middle of the screen at the bottom there. Looks like a crucifix. That's all of that is part of the barge, and the tug fits in there. The bow fits in there, and then we have what we call push gear, which is this Amstel blue or spectral lines that run from one side to the other, and it kind of marries us all up, so we're all in one. We act as one unit. This is called pushing. So we are pushing the barge right now. We're not towing the barge. And so we've picked this up off of a ship, and it's empty now. And here's something you don't see too often. There's a sailboat sailing down the Kills. And he has every right to do that. It's just kind of odd. There's not a whole lot of destinations that sailboats usually would go to in the Kills. It's a pretty industrialized area, but this guy's going there. Luckily, he's off to the side of the channel, which we appreciate. But anyway, in this case, we picked up this barge. It's pumped off its product, and now we're headed over to a terminal to get it loaded again. And this particular terminal that we're going to is going to be difficult for us to get in there, Because if you look at this buoy on the left-hand side, see this red buoy over there? And if you wonder what's going on over there, those two barges over there, there's a barge at this place that's broke in half. If you, I don't want to say they loaded it wrong, what happens is that as the barge, when they get older, if you load them in the middle and you don't load them on the ends, the ends will continue to float and the bottom goes down and it sags and it breaks. And if they load the ends up too much, that's what they call hogging. It will break the other way. But this barge over here broke a couple months ago, and these crane barges lifted it up and they're getting ready to scrap it. But anyway, if you look at this red buoy that's right there, you can see some tide working on there. That's the current, and it looks like it's still coming at us. And the dock that I'm going to, you see that black ship just ahead of us on the left-hand side? I'm trying to remember, we did this job a long time ago, so I'm doing the voiceover now, like a month afterwards or whatever, probably 2 months afterwards. Anyway, that black ship, we're going right behind it, and the tide is still coming, and we need to get to a dock, and the dock is going to be on our starboard side. So in other words, we're going to turn to the left, the dock is going to be on the right-hand side, and the tide is coming at us. So that means, and the dock is just ahead of where that black ship is. So I've called and asked for an assist tug, and you can see just over our port pump house there, see that tug right there? That's another company tug, and I've asked for help on this one. And if I remember correctly, this is Captain Bombster. He's another guy that's from Rhode Island, and he's awesome. Love the Bombster. He's been in the industry a million years, and he's really good. He's always great to have around because he's seen it all and done it all. Anyway, so right now, I'm wondering how far up I should go, because the dock is not at a 90-degree angle. The dock is more like at about 120, probably about 120-degree angle from where we are. So we have to turn 120 degrees to the left. And remember, the tide will be pushing me this way. Obviously, the longer I wait, the tide's going to get less and less, and eventually the tide will switch and be pushing me onto the dock. So if I had time to wait, I could wait out the tide, and if I didn't have an assist tug, I'd wait out the tide and shoot in there just in time so that the tide would be my assist and it would push me up against the dock. In this particular one, you can see the deck hands are getting ready. They're getting out there. I probably called them on my radio and said we're getting close. So this particular place that we're going to, we actually call it the hole, because there's where the black ship is that's the end of one dock. Then we're going to be going to a dock that is, well, you'll see where it is, and there's another dock on the inside. The inside is, that whole area is what we call the hole. It's very difficult to get in and out. I shouldn't say it's difficult, it's just the guys that do it all the time, and they're really good at it. And years ago when I used to work on a 3000, so a lot of you guys started watching the channel then, if you remember that tug, we used to go in and out of the hole all the time. And now that I haven't done it for a long time, I'm really happy, but not really. Look, I'll be totally fine if I never have to go in there again. Now we're going in this time, but like I say, when we go in this time, it's not. We're not going to the inside berth. We're going to the one. It's relatively easy, and the good part about it is that this particular company, who owns the dock now, bought it from a company that was notorious for being extremely vigilant in fendering their docks. They always had a million tires all over their docks. So that company that is no longer, they're in business. They just sold all their docks and all that stuff to another company, and everyone would always say, "Oh, it's one of those docks." Well, we love the docks with a lot of rubber around them. Anyway, so you can see that there's the tug with the red water line up there. The ship with the red water line up there, and the ship over here that's just coming out of frame on the left-hand side. We got to get in between there. I've got to turn. I put the assist tug, and I put him halfway up the barge. I didn't put him all the way up there. And my feeling is that once we get in there where the tide is going to be, it's going to be working more on me than it will be on the barge. Remember, there's only about 3 or 4 feet of barge in the water, where I've got about 14 feet of me sticking in the water in the tug in back. And so the tide will be working up more on me. So normally, if it was a loaded barge, I'd have him further up to that Yokohama, or that we call the Yokohama, which is the fender all the way in the front. But because it's a light barge, and because the tide is running and the wind is going with the tide, you can see this flag there, I brought him halfway around, and we put a line up there just in case we need to have him pull as well, but I think I'm probably just going to use him to push all the time. And so right here, I am suffering from a disease that I have had my entire career. And unfortunately, I think the older I get, the worse it becomes. And that's that I lose patience. I really should have gone up further. Right about where the bow is now is where I should have had the stern of the tug before I started my turn. But I've started my turn, and it sounds weird, but you get up here and you just want to get this thing going. Come on, let's go. And that's I don't say that. I'm not bragging. I'm confessing my sins to you when I say this. I really should have waited and gone up higher, especially because I had the assist tub. So by coming this far, by not coming far enough up, now I can't swing as quickly as I wanted to. If I went all the way up there, I could get up there and then snap the bow around and drive it right in. Now I've realized my mistake, and so instead of turning immediately to the left, I'm slowly bringing it around to the left. Once again, it shouldn't be a big issue because I do have the safety net of having an assist tug there to help me. And once again, for those that aren't longtime viewers, something that, if you're not familiar with boat handling, I have the ability to move the barge forward and back relatively easily. What I can't do is make it move laterally, sideways, back and forth. And that's where the assist tug will come in to help us. So, as I go and I get perpendicular to the tide and the wind, it's going to want to blow me from right to left, and that's where I have the help of the assist tug, or that's what I'm counting on anyway. Now, if you look, just coming into frame on the left-hand side is something dark. That thing that's ahead of us is not the dock. That's actually what they call a catwalk, and that connects the docks together. It's all one company. Now you see that first cluster there, or first cell that we call that there, and it's got a whole bunch of tires around it there. The tide's high right now. That's where we're going to end up. But what you're going to see is you're going to see some more cells just like that will come into frame here pretty soon, and that will be the other side of the entrance of what we call the hole. So I have to get around here without falling down, because what you can't see is not only will there be another cell that will come into frame, but there's also the ship is over there too. And so this is where I really wish had I come higher, I would have been able to make this angle much steeper. But I have to bring it like this and slowly work it around and try to keep my stern from falling down. And remember, my stern is where the most of the tide is going to be working. There, now you can see the end of the ship. That's the end of the ship right there that we don't want to hit. And I have to keep enough room there as well to make sure that the assist tug has room too. Because if I have the assist tug, if I don't have enough room for him, he won't be able to get flat and he won't be able to push us back. So that would be really bad. So I have to come ahead. Like I say, all this would have been avoided if I wasn't in such a hurry and if I just moved up one barge length better. We're not in any danger. When you do these jobs, I think it's prudent for everyone, for every job that you do, that you kind of afterwards think about what you did right and also think about what you did wrong and what you could do better. And in this case, I could have gone up a little further and made a much steeper angle coming into the dock, and a much shallower angle coming into the dock, and that would have helped me. Now you can see the cluster behind the ship, and that dock behind the cluster there, that's the inside, what we call the hole. So luckily we're not going over there. They usually don't put 50s over there. They usually put 30s over there. But anyway, still glad that I'm not doing that. So we're coming up. Deckhands are telling me when they can see down the flat of the dock. And it's not really a flat because it's a series of 4 of those clusters, the cells. And so I am trying to work. See, what happens is, as I try to work the stern from left to right, when I do that, that brings the bow from right to left because the barge wants to pivot. So that's where I have to use the assist tug to push against us and hold us up in there because as I'm twisting, the tide is wanting to work me from right to left. So I'm trying to balance all this and continue to make forward progress, because if I don't make forward progress, we'll just end up on that ship pretty soon. As you can see, the assist tug's getting closer and closer and closer. And it's not that the assist tug's going to hit right now, it's just that we don't have a lot of room to work with here anyway. But had I been a barge length up, I would have come in right at this angle here, but probably half the distance to where the edge of the dock is. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, now I'm calling for the assist tug to work on me. He's flattening out a little bit. Then I'm probably telling him, okay, you're all set. You can come out. And maybe once he gets by the ship, then he can come back out at a 90. And I'll watch him on that cluster, because when you're running the boat, you can't really see what the stern does. And we have cameras, but the cameras just, everybody says, well, you should have cameras on the barge and all that. You know, the cameras are great, but they don't give you the depth perception that you really need. And it's also very difficult to look out the window and then instantly look at a camera. And I think that's probably why like pilots have like heads-up displays and stuff like that, where it displays over where you're already focused. But anyway, so we're having a bunch of clusters. We're getting what we call coverage now, and coverage means that if I have to, we could just jam the barge over onto the dock and hit those tires if something went wrong, and we'd be all set. So we have coverage. We're not going to go in between the cells. Once you have coverage on 2 cells, you can't get in between the other ones if you lay them flat, you know. So, and then I think there's 4 here. In this particular one, the dockmen were not here, and this is one of the docks, and like most of the docks that we go to, we're not allowed to step foot on the docks for liability reasons. So the tankermen can throw a line down, and if you're really lucky, they can get it. But you can see these bollards are about 10 feet in from, I mean, you know, when you figure those great big payloader tires that are out there, they make the barge stand off about 3 feet, and then if the bollards are 3 or 6 foot in, and you've got a great big 6-inch line that you're trying to throw over there, it's a hell. You're asking a lot, you know, shoulders and backs and arms and everything to try to have that all done. So usually what we do is we have it's nice when you have a dockman that is there and you can throw a heaving line over, and they have a monkey's fist at the end, which is basically like a baseball or softball size thing, a monkey's fist knot at the end with a weight in the inside of it and a whole line. You throw that over, they catch that, and then you tie that line to your line, and they pull your line over, and that's really nice. Unfortunately, that wasn't an option here because the dockmen were doing something else this day, and we had to go up there and do this. That's where we were at. So I was very happy that I had Captain Bombster here to hold us in position. And the good news is that at this point I can totally relax. And the reason why is not only do I have a good man helping me out, but I also can relax because I know the tide isn't going to get worse. The tide's going to get better because I'm coming in at the end of the flood. So once it stops flooding, it'll go slack, and then once it starts to ebb, the ebb tide will hold me right up against the dock, and I won't even need the assist tug. So that's about it. And at this point we do this, and I think eventually they get a line and we get to back up, because I think we came forward so that they could get a line that they normally throw out on a heaving line, but since there wasn't anyone there, we came very close to the pit so they could drop it, and then eventually we'll back the barge up, get it in position. And I think this particular time we actually waited, I think like an hour and 20 minutes for the dockmen to come tie us up. So this job is not for those that don't have a lot of patience. Anyway, that was that. Want to thank all you guys for watching. Just to let you know, everybody, I've been promising this for a while. This is one of the one of the first videos I shot after we've gone to the new way of shooting these videos, or the new rules for shooting them. And a lot of people have asked that they missed the radio traffic, and the other ones have asked to see the chart plotter and all that stuff. And I am still on our loaner tug, and I don't really want to set up cameras and mount stuff when I'm not on my boat. So that's all coming. I tried a couple other things and it didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but I just don't want you to think that I've given up on that. No, that is coming. I have this and another video to get through before we can get to the new stuff. So we gotta eat our what is it? How can you eat your pudding if you can't eat your meat, right? I suppose anyone that's watching this will remember that line. Anyway, that's it. I want to say if you like these videos, if you get anything out of them, it really helps if you like and subscribe. That does a lot of help. If the spirit leads you, super thanks. But we'd love to have you on our Patreon crew. If you don't, that's totally fine too. The people that are on Patrons get early access to ad-free videos and private videos, among other things as well. So anyway, if that's something you want to do, then I'll leave a link in for you. But the thing that you could really hook me up with is checking out my other channel, SV Paquita. Really like to see you over there. If you could really help me out, really trying to get that channel going. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the line.